All right, so now we have the panel. We don't have one of the speakers. Who did we lose? Albert again? Oriol. He couldn't make it from Madrid. But Albert will take his place. Yeah, let's prepare and Maksim is going to be the moderator. And we are going to talk about. Hola. Yeah, you take this one. Let me just finish. So we have Maksim moderating. We have Mr. Patrick Torrent is going to present himself, and Albert, who helped us a lot during the whole. Albert was together with Gianfranco, who's not here today. They basically were our friends in Barcelona organizing all the logistics. So thank you, Albert. And yep, let's go.
All right, thank you very much. Let's just spread around a little bit, just so we're not super tight. You hear me okay? Okay. Thank you very much for everyone to be here, and thank you for you guys showing up. Unfortunately, we don't have another speaker here, but I think we'll do, right? Albert, I will start with you because I know a little bit about your organization, what you're doing here, but maybe you can say a few words about yourself, and let's start with that.
Okay. Well, I'm replacing Oriol, who is part of the Barcelona Hotels Association. No? So I have a background of plus 15 years working in hotels, and I'm from Barcelona, so I can just fit this place, and I try to replace him as better as I can. You were mentioning about my partner and Hospitalidad Emprendedora, which is our project, that we are building this bridge between Web 2 and Web 3, between the hospitality and the tourism industry and the Web 3 solutions, because we know that we have been talking a lot today about the specific language of Web 3, etc. I think tourism travel has as well a specific language, and it's a way to manage both perspectives and be able to see and to show the hospitality the benefits of Web 3. And we can only do so by showing use cases, something real, and well, this is.
Thank you very much, and Patrick, thank you for being here. And I was just looking at your LinkedIn profile. You have quite an extensive experience in tourism for decades, literally, right? So say a few words about what you do, and there's another microphone even.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for letting us the opportunity to share with you our vision from the Catalan Tourist Board about all this technology and how can these technologies support the transformation of the DMOs, the destination marketing organizations that we are managing the organization, especially the marketing of the destination. In this case, the Catalan Tourist Board is a private-public partnership working in order to position Catalonia as a destination all over the world. In the past, our role was exclusively centered in the marketing strategies, talking about publicity. Now we are more in the moment to have this transition from DMO to DMMO, including a new M that is the management. Then it's destination marketing and management organization, but because we think and we agree that marketing is at the service of the model, of the tourism model we want for our destinations, and it's for this reason that from the Catalan Tourist Board we are working on this transformation, not only of the marketing, but of the whole destination. And we think that in this case we have been developing different projects using technologies in order to support this transformation, because technologies must be the lever that could help us to transform the tourism model, and that is what we are doing.
Don't you have a problem of over-tourism in Barcelona now? So maybe your job is now to deter tourists from Barcelona. Maybe it's enough?
Is one of the main challenges that we are facing, and is thanks to this challenge that they offer us, open the door to include innovation and technologies in order to transform this model. Over-tourism is one of the elements that is based in a bad balance between the visitor needs and the resident needs. We think that is one of the cities with the best example of unbalanced management of tourism, because Barcelona has been developed thanks to the marketing, but not with with the management. And now we think to manage tourism in the city. We need to manage flows. We need to include residents in the discussion about what kind of tourism we want for the future. And when we are creating this community, including residents, visitors, the travel industry, companies, communication media, channels, managers of our main assets as a destination, that are our culture and our natural spaces, that used not to be in the middle of the center of the discussion about tourism in the past, and now we need to count on it in order to develop a more responsible and generative tourism model. And it's for the reason that in this case we are thinking in technology and in a blockchain community, thanks to this kind of problems that we need to mitigate or we need to face. One is over tourism. We think that Catalonia is a whole destination that offers opportunities in order to spread the tourism flows all over our country, and we need to take advantage of it and work thanks to our diversity in create a new experience, including obviously residents as a part of this new model.
So sounds like it's something that we were actually discussing earlier today, that it's not just about shareholders necessarily, but all sorts of different stakeholders. And you mentioned, the tourists, the local community, the natural environment, all of those things. And I know that you've been talking to a lot of different organizations here in Barcelona and participating in different projects that you've created. Can you mention a few of them, and maybe some of those projects are related to problems that Catalonia and Barcelona in particular has?
Mm-hmm. Sure, I think that is a good way, as Patrick was mentioned, to spread the tourism and to involve the local community. There's projects where you can, what you do is try to have a more sustainable tourist, or maybe more conscious, or you give benefits. There's apps like they track if you move in a sustainable way while you are in Barcelona or in other cities. But while you are doing you're on holidays, if you move sustainable, there's a way to promote, to have rewards, to have NFTs or whatever. This way, it's something that you promote this sustainable tourism. A way to manage as well. If you have a crowded area, you have the option as well to launch NFTs, in a specific location. So you are able to, if there's Ramblas are crowded and very busy, you can just move around so that the local people doesn't feel this over tourism, for example. So there's projects working on that way, and I think it's really interesting to find this balance and how from a private and public institution and together with the local residents, you can find this balance and embrace technology like blockchain and Web3 for that.
So I remember one of those projects, I think it was last year around ETH Barcelona event, where it was some sort of geolocation. You had to move around to collect some sort of token, something like that. So you're saying in a similar fashion, we could theoretically redirect tourists from one area to another. Something like that.
This one in East Barcelona was made from Explorings, together with Winding Tree, actually.
That's right. Thank you very much.
We were there with Vincent and some colleagues there. And it was a way to show how to maybe show the tourists or the people who went in Barcelona for the Ethereum event, that there's not only Sagrada Familia, Parc Güell, and etc., that you can just do some routes or some other places that you want to pinpoint on that itinerary, or something that a specific neighborhood or a specific area that you want people to go there and as well see other benefits. So it's interesting.
So what are the biggest problems, I guess, that DMO or DMMO, this is a unique type of organization as far as I understand right now. I've never heard of DMMO before. Usually it's just a DMO. So what is the biggest problem that you are solving for, and for whom you're solving those problems?
The biggest one now is not go to the sustainable tourism, but go to the regenerative tourism. Sustainable tourism used to be focused in mitigate the bad externalities of the activity or compensate the bad results of this activity. We think that we must be more ambitious than that, and we need to focus our activity in facilitate the creation of value thanks to the activity of tourism. Then we need to leave the land better than we funded when we started the activity of tourism. It's possible. We had an event here in Barcelona in 20th September last year, talking about regenerative tourism, and with Anna Pollock, that is a guru about regenerative economies and regenerative tourism, talking about the possibility we have to change this vision. But we need to do it, obviously, in cooperation with all the sector, not only the public sector, but the private, but the residents, but the other agents that are involved in the tourism experience. And that seems that we need governance. One of the elements that is more important in tourism is governance. It's for the reason that we created this year the National Commitment for Responsible Tourism, that is a global social consensus identifying which kind of tourism model we want for the future. And thanks to this consensus and over this consensus to create a new strategic plan, a new marketing plan for destination, and a new tourism law in order to regulate the new tourism we want in Catalonia. This National Commitment for Responsible Tourism is our main tool to resolve the governance problems, because we want to be involved all agents in our sector. Now we have 140 signatures of this agreement, of this commitment, and we expect to receive more signatures. Now we're
Who are the signatories?
The signatures is one, for example, is Neighbors of the City of Barcelona, the Association of Neighbors of the City of Barcelona, but at the same, in the same paper, with the signatures of the international cruise line associations, with CLIA, for example. It's complicated to have one ambitious project signed at the same time for neighbors and for cruise lines. Signed for the global industry ECTA, for example, this is the European Association for Tour Operators and Travel Agents, for example, or ETOA, that is everyone is signing in the industry, but at the same time, the ecologist groups, for example, are signing this document. The trade unions signing at the same time than companies. The Sagrada Familia Patronat, the manager of the Sagrada Familia, signing at the same time of the neighbors of the area of Sagrada Familia. It's really, really, really important for us to have this platform as a basic agreement in order to develop all our tourism model in the future. Because if not, in the past, we used to have dozens of strategic plans and marketing plans, but always created by the administration, by the public, the tourism authority. It's not bad because it helps to plan the future of the tourism we want for the destination, but it's not the more, I don't know, democratic model in order to create together the tourism we want. When we are talking about democracy, about platform, about community, about cooperation, then we are thinking in blockchain, in technology, and in DAO at the same time. It's for the reason that we think that is one of the opportunities we have for the future.
So a lot of people make that connection very easily. Of course, we're talking about DAOs as a mode for organizing communities, right? And again, at the end of the day, Web3 is a technology for coordination, right? And so we make that leap, but what are some of the concrete steps, I guess, that you're taking towards that? And more importantly, why are you doing those steps? Because it sounds like you were able to, to convince all sorts of parties to already sign this agreement, and using sort of pen and paper, right? The old technologies, not necessarily cryptographic signatures, right? Which you could use, but why use those cryptographic signatures right now? Why would that be important to you?
Yes, I have been talking about the national commitment for responsible tourism because it's part of our message now in this moment. But it's true that we started this thinking about the use of blockchain for Catalonia as a destination and as a DMO in 2019, thanks to an event celebrated here in Barcelona with W3iT23 is a company based in Singapore Hey-Ho is from Vietnam, and he helped us to have this reflection in order to create a more responsible and sustainable tourism model using blockchain and limiting the role of intermediation partners, agents, travel agents and tour operators, and creating this space of trust between the different agents. And it was thanks to that we imagined one pilot test in Catalonia that is related with the Grand Tour of Catalonia, is to create an MVP related with a small community, not the whole community of Catalonia. We know Catalonia is one of the 3 main destinations in Europe in terms of international arrivals. Then we are receiving 36 million of tourists every year, and we need to test it in a more small dimension. And Grand Tour of Catalonia, that is an immersion project created by the Catalan Tourist Board, could be a good way to test these technologies. Is in this area where we are creating that, and with one unique focus is the spreading of tourism flows in Catalonia. We know Catalonia has been created thanks to different tourism hubs: Barcelona, Lloret de Mar, Salou, I don't know, Viella, Roses, but not using the itineraries as the way to create a transversal experience in Catalonia. And then, thanks to the Grand Tour of Catalonia, similar to the Grand Tour of Switzerland or Grand Tour of Scotland or Grand Tour of Flanders, now we are helping the different areas, the hidden treasures we have in Catalonia, to be discovered by tourists, thanks to this capacity to have this cross-selling and upselling experiences in our land. Then when you are consuming, for example, an experience in Figueras in the Dalí Museum, we receive these tokens that you could use in the next step, in the next place that the next day you can visit, for example, in La Seu d'Urgell, in the Romanic Cathedral of La Seu d'Urgell, and creating this community among the companies in order to create new products, new experiences, linking models and linking experiences in these different parts. It's a pilot project. We are now just identifying the needs and creating the briefing for this project, but in this 2023, at the end, we will have the first pilot product in order to test this experience.
So it's some sort of marketing programs or marketing loyalty, I guess, right? So where you give users tokens to incentivize them to go to that place instead of that one, which is overcrowded or something like that. But now we're sort of in the realm of DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. And do you know about all of these different efforts in Barcelona? Because again, you've been working on this Hospitalidad Emprendedora for quite some time, and I'm sure you've discussed the problem of DAOs, DMOs as DAOs here with many people. What do you think about the possibilities, about the problems that can be solved with this?
With the technology, was as Patrick mentioned, no, that this you can. Because normally in Catalonia, most of people will see like Barcelona, no, and you have the option to give a huge overview and show other places that it's a must to go as well, no, and it's not only Barcelona. And I think from the perspective to do this private and public intersection, I think it makes a lot of sense. It makes the data, the transparency public, and easy for people to join, from the hotels. So it's easy if you know that all of them we have the same ground, the same opportunities. The boat will be the same, no? As Pablo was mentioned before with Camino, like it doesn't matter if you are big or small, you have one boat. It makes this better for everybody, and you know the rules. So it's as a destination, if you want to bring, as he said, you want to bring the neighbors, you want to bring Sagrada Familia, you want to bring big players. If you know that you are going with a technology that allows you to have this in a transparency, secure way, that you know what are the rules, and that no one will benefit more than other, etc. I think it makes easier to have this as a pilot, but then to be able to do something bigger, to want to join and try something something else. I think the main problem first is the mentality, and once that we just go one step further and we see that what we have with this technology, it's just better of what we have because we can be more secure, it will be mass adoption to try something like this.
So what I hear, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? So you want to involve all sorts of different stakeholders. It's not just about the tour companies, tourism agencies, but also suppliers here, hotels, maybe, I don't know, tours and experiences, companies like that, right? But also you want to involve the local community in the whole of Catalonia to be able to participate in some sort of voting mechanism where they will be able to say or propose perhaps, right? So, hey, how about we divert the tourism flow from this place to this place because, you know, there's some reasoning, and then all of these different stakeholders will be able to express their opinion, and then it's a done deal, signatures are cast, and you know, the program is executed, something like that. Do I understand it correctly, right? And you want to use, and you already are piloting that kind of system.
Absolutely. Everything started during the pandemic when we had the deep reflection about our purpose, our why. And the answer to this question was that our purpose is to provide well-being to the community through the values of travel, identifying well-being much more than economic prosperity, community much more than the travel industry and the traditional workers of the sector and obviously visitors, including all these different agents that I mentioned before, and identifying added value as values as the elements that we want to preserve. The values of travel, of mobility, the capacity to have dialogue, to push peace, because in fact, mobility and traveling is a great channel for peace. Knowledge, opportunities, open minds. I think everything is good in terms of values in tourism, and we need to preserve it, and we need to work on this direction, giving this well-being to the community. And it's for the reason that we think that in our next strategic plan, in our next marketing plan, we need to have the residents at the center of this reflection, in the same position than visitors. And if you want, avoiding the differences between residents and visitors, considering both residents, or some of them temporary residents, there are permanent residents, but at the end, residents, everyone. And with this conception, we want to create this new model, thinking, for example, in our cultural offer, in our natural experiences offering to the visitors, being residents or not. And I think is our main transformation reflection that we have, because it's thanks to that now we are thinking in this other way and with this other vision. And I think is the moment to invite to the industry not only accommodations, not only the travel agents, not only the attractions managers, but the cultural managers, the natural managers, the other companies that are related with tourism. Don't forget that, for example, trade, the shops in the streets, the agro-food industry, the cars industry, all these companies are directly related with the tourism experiences, because tourism is so transversal that the capacity to benefit all these industries is huge, and we need to work with all sectors at the same time in order to create the new strategy and the new models.
So you're trying to create some sort of universal democracy here, I want to say, a direct democracy at that, where everyone will be able to decide on certain, I guess, scope of issues.
It's not so ambitious, but is a starting point. Is a good point to create this new model and this new platform. We think that is possible here, because we have more than 100 years of history in hospitality and attracting visitors from all over the world. And we think that we have options to create, because the level of conscience now is so strong that we think that it's possible to do it. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, for example, this national commitment for responsible tourism were impossible. To have the signature in the same document from residents, from ecologist associations, from trade unions, from the industry, from the cruise ships, were absolutely impossible. Impossible, but not only to sign it, but to write the text. Both parts were impossible. Now it's possible. Why? Because we understand that the level of the challenges we have is so immense, is so great, that we need to go together in order to face it.
Do you work on this in collaboration with the rest of Spain, with Madrid? Do you need their approval? What could be some of the challenges here? Because I can imagine you're trying to create a democracy here.
This is one of the other challenges we have. This is related with governance at the same time, because we know that there's the tourism activity need to be managed from different levels. One is the local level in the local authorities, the medium level in the provinces, for example, in Catalonia, the regional level in terms of the government of Catalonia, then the state, and then the European Union. We are working in the internationalization of this kind of commitments. We think that it could be a good example to take as a reference, and it's for this reason that we have a internationalization plan of this global commitment. We presented it to the UNWTO, the United Nations World Tourism Organization, 2 weeks ago. We presented last week in the European Commission as well. We are working in different associations in order to share these visions, because we think that we need to have these other areas thinking in the same way in order to ensure the success of this transformation. And in our case, we need to manage it in the other levels in Catalonia. It's for this reason that we are creating the integrated marketing system for tourism in Catalonia that will create a unique platform from the provinces, from the local authorities, and from the Catalan Tourism Board to have the same message, the same strategy, the same focus, the same publics, and working together with the same objectives.
This is, I could imagine that your pilot, this project that you're working on, could be a model for all sorts of different communities around the world. But the gold medal question here is, how do you know it's successful? You're working on this project right now, and how do you know? What's your key metrics? What are you monitoring? How, at the end of the day, you say, okay, this was great?
We have different KPIs to monitor this
what are those
success linked with when we are talking about well-being. Well-being is not, I mentioned, is not talking about economic prosperity exclusively. We have the old metrics that are not good anymore when we are talking about the number of arrivals, the number of incoming from tourism. GDP. We need to have more information about the sustainable metrics, and we are working on in Nextur. Nextur is a platform association of regions for sustainable tourism in Europe, in a project that is TODLab. It's a laboratory of data with using data from all destinations in Europe in order to change this dashboard of indicators and to know how are we transforming the model thanks to all these initiatives that we are boosting. And one of the elements is obviously the level of support of the local population, of the locals to the activity of tourism. Now we are, for example, in Barcelona in a 85-87% of support. We need to go to 95-97. Is one of our goals. Everything that we need to do in order to achieve this goal will be part of this transformation project in this new strategic plan.
A few years ago, I read this paper by Ralph Merkel, who is widely known in the blockchain community for his technological inventions that we all use if we use blockchains every day. And he's a technologist, he's an inventor. But he wrote a paper that was called DAOs and Democracy, that is Distributed Autonomous Organizations and Democracy. And he describes exactly what you're talking about in that paper, where he says that we could organize our communities not on the basis of just purely monetary, GDP or something like that, but we could include all sorts of different metrics. And the metric of his choice hypothetical was just the happiness of the community, which it seems like you're doing that. And to me, up until now, that was just a completely, it's a pipe dream that someone would do that. But you're doing that, you're implementing that. And which blockchain do you use?
We are now working with a blockchain center of Catalonia, and they are deciding for us, not us. We are not specialists in technologies. We are just part of the business, but not of the technology. We know what we want, but we have not decision about which kind of blockchain we will use. But the central blockchain de Catalonia will help us in this decision.
Right, Albert. Maybe you know some of the technical details here, or no? You weren't aware of this.
No, not yet. I know that they were doing something, but not that advanced. So
I mean, you could help. He knows. He knows what's up. So it seems like we're running out of time, but we have some time for questions, right? Yep. Okay. So, all right, over there. Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Love this panel. Super, super interesting. I think this idea of like over tourism is very common, especially in a lot of popular European cities. So I just moved to Lisbon, for example, and I think it's starting to become a problem there. Do you see this concept of like a DMMO being something that is replicated for other cities that might be struggling with the same thing? And then the agreements that you have in place, do you feel like that could become a template or a model that other cities could adapt? And then it becomes something that somebody or a city could think about proactively. So if they see some markers of potential over tourism, they can then put these practices into place to prevent getting to a place where you have to be reactive about it.
Yes. Overtourism is not a problem exclusively in Barcelona, you know. It's a problem in Venice, in Prague, in Amsterdam, in other different cities. Probably less in the biggest cities in Europe. It's not so hard, for example, in Paris or in London, but especially in these medium cities in Europe is, and we are facing it together. It's for this reason that it's so important to go with other destinations, managing together the problems and the solutions. In this association I mentioned, that is Nextur, the European Network of Regions for a Competitive and Sustainable Tourism, we are working close to Flanders, for example, because Ghent, Antwerpen are suffering the same kind of problems, even more intensive than in Catalonia, because are smaller than the city of Barcelona, for example, and with Veneto, in the case of Venice, with Amsterdam region at the same time, because we need to share our problems and to identify the possible solutions and how technology could help us to mitigate or to change the model we want. For example, in Barcelona, we had different projects that we are sharing with these other destinations related with the flows of tourism in Sagrada Familia in order to manage the capacity to receive visitors in the Sagrada Familia temple. You know that it's not a question to have a good entrance model, because 60 or 70% of people that goes to Sagrada Familia doesn't enter in the temple. They are just walking surrounding the temple and overcrowding the area without paying entrance in the Sagrada Familia, and it's impossible then to manage these flows because obviously the streets are open to everyone and are free. But the capacity to use technology in order to have influence in the decision-making of the different tourists that are here in Barcelona in order to invite them to go to other areas of the city is one of the elements that they are now investigating, because it could be one of the solutions. Well, it was one of the elements that we shared with other destinations in Europe, and we want to continue working together with these others, because if we have problems, the same problems are being in other cities, and we think that together we can find better solutions.
More questions? All right, I think we're good. Thank you so much. This was really exciting. I wasn't expecting anything like that, but that was fascinating.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.